regard to Donald Trump's refusal to pardon Sean Puffy Combs or to commute the sentence of Sean Puffy Combs, because he don't have to pardon him, Art. He could just commute the sentence and say he served enough time, let him go home. You know, he's not doing that either.
You won't believe what just went down with Diddy this week. While Diddy's sitting behind bars, word just broke that a former president has pardoned 5 NFL players. We're talking about guys caught up in a wild situation involving 175 pounds and a full-on run for it. Major cases, but when Diddy personally reached out to ask for a pardon, the answer was a firm no. And trust me, that's not even the wildest twist in this whole mess. This episode breaks down everything that happened with Diddy between February 9th and February 16th, 2026, and it's pure chaos. Reports say even Diddy's mother might be facing criminal charges. Can you imagine that? His 84-year-old mom possibly getting dragged into this storm with him. But it doesn't stop there. A brand new lawsuit just got the green light to move forward to trial, and it's loaded with disturbing, hard-to-hear details. And as for that denied pardon, things just took an unexpected and almost unbelievable turn today. Here's what's coming. Why Diddy and his mother might be in deep trouble over a shady $100,000 cash situation that's raising more questions than answers. This story just keeps getting crazy about a minute. You're about to hear the shocking details of a serious assault lawsuit that now pulls in Big E's son, and it's turning heads everywhere. Plus, we're digging into why Diddy's plea for a pardon got turned down, even though that same week, a former president signed off on pardons for 5 NFL players. All of this happened literally as this video was being made. But before we dive deep, we've got to break down what's happening right now, because this situation is absolutely wild. Here's the scoop. Back in January 2026, Diddy reportedly wrote a personal letter to the former president asking for a pardon. He was hoping for a second chance, but the response? A firm, public no. The story goes that Diddy was even telling other inmates at Fort Dix prison that he was confident he'd be walking free soon. Imagine the boldness of that, thinking the deal was practically done. Then came the twist. February 13th, 2026. Out of nowhere, the former president granted pardons to 5 ex-NFL players. Let's break it down. Joe Klecko was forgiven after lying to a federal grand jury in an insurance case. That's perjury. Nate Newton got caught with $10,000 in cash and 175 pounds of drugs, federal trafficking level stuff. Jamal Lewis used his phone to arrange drug deals, and Travis Henry financed a full network stretching from Colorado to Montana. Even Billy Cannon, who once counterfeited millions in U.S. bills and passed away years ago, got his name cleared posthumously. And when asked about the decision, reports claim the former president simply said something about football reminding us of second chances. What a headline moment. Success is built on hustle, patience, and the guts to bounce back stronger than ever. But meanwhile, Diddy got completely left on read. Picture this, sitting in a prison cell, watching the news and seeing everyone else getting pardoned but you. That's gotta sting.
And I'm gonna tell you why. It's not necessarily due to the fact that he got an issue with Diddy. I think the reason Donald Trump did not commute Diddy's sentence, Art, is for this reason. Donald Trump is a crash dummy for the Zionists. Israel is the capital of the United States of America. I told you that I believe, allegedly, that Donald Trump is doing everything the Zionists tell him to do, from capturing Maduro to doing everything else, in exchange for his participation or his knowledge of the Jeffrey Epstein scandal to not be publicly.
Here's the deal. Diddy was convicted on 2 counts of transportation under the MAN Act, tied to serious misconduct charges. Meanwhile, those NFL players were found guilty of running large-scale, multi-state drug operations, and even one was caught printing fake cash. Yet somehow, they got their second chance, while Diddy didn't. This latest decision pretty much shuts down any hope of a presidential pardon for him. His one remaining lifeline? His appeal, scheduled for April 9th. That date could change everything, but for now, the countdown is on. Now let's get into why Diddy and his mother might be staring down financial crime accusations, because this new update is wild. Page 6 dropped a serious bomb on February 10th, 2026. Turns out, Diddy may have been preparing for trouble long before his arrest. Back in May 2023, he did a flashy nightclub appearance at M2 Nightclub in Miami for Formula One Race Week. Sounds routine, right? Wrong. Reports claim Diddy specifically demanded $100,000 in cash for the gig, split into 2 payments. And here's the twist. The payment wasn't made directly to him. Instead, it went to a company called Janice Combs Music Holdings Incorporated, named after his 84-year-old mother. And the craziest part? That cash arrangement was written into the official contract, planned days before the event even happened. This wasn't some last-minute move. It was a calculated setup from the start. And here's why it matters so much. This whole cash deal went down just months before Diddy's homes got raided by federal agents. Around that same time, civil lawsuits were stacking up fast. It's like Diddy saw the storm coming and started shifting his money around, using business moves that now have everyone talking, including his mom's possible involvement. And get this, people are saying Janice has been stepping into the spotlight like she's running the show while her son's behind bars. Some clips even show her moving with real confidence, almost like she's keeping the empire alive out here. But let's talk about the legal side, because this is where things get intense. When someone gets paid big money in cash, especially amounts like $100,000, it bypasses the usual IRS reporting channels. The law says all major payments for services, like high-profile club appearances, have to be reported. Now, if Diddy's mother actually handled that money herself, that could make her a direct part of the transaction trail. And if that $100,000 wasn't officially reported as income, then it could fall under tax evasion, plain and simple. In that case, investigators might even look into potential aiding and abetting charges. If she knew the cash wasn't supposed to hit the books, that changes everything. She's not just on the sidelines, she's a full participant in this whole situation. And here's another twist. The club owner coming forward publicly? That's probably not random at all. There's a real chance they're working with investigators or acting as a whistleblower. If they reported the cash deal to the IRS, they could be protected under federal law and dodge any trouble themselves.
Trump is in those papers, Art, but they're protecting him as long as he does what they tell him to do. If Donald Trump tries to buck the Zionists, I promise you, he gets impeached, he gets convicted, he gets disgraced, and he'll go to jail for probably the rest of his natural life.
But here's where things really start to look messy. If Diddy handled one club appearance like this, who's to say it wasn't a pattern? Imagine if every club gig, brand partnership, or guest appearance worked the same way, cash only, off the record. 10 deals like that could mean over $1 million of untraceable money floating around. Lawyers call that a private economy, basically an underground system where someone can move money, pay people, or settle debts without leaving a paper trail. No receipts, no taxes, no easy way for investigators to track it. Now, you might be wondering, why would someone as wealthy as Diddy even take a risk like that over a $100,000 gig? And that's the real question. The truth is, his financial empire has reportedly been taking hit after hit. He's no longer considered a billionaire. His long-standing partnership with Diageo for Ciroc Vodka, a deal once valued at $1 billion, is gone. He even had to sell his stake in Revolt TV and start unloading major assets just to stay afloat. The $60 million private jet? Sold. His Los Angeles mansion? Tried to sell it, but who's lining up to buy a property that's been raided by federal agents? Most of what's left of his fortune is tied up in art and real estate, assets that aren't quick cash. And when you're staring down a 50-month prison sentence and multiple civil lawsuits, having cold, liquid cash suddenly becomes your #1 priority. Cash in hand always beats a mansion that won't sell, especially when the pressure's on. And here's where it gets really slick. If the nightclub had wired that $100,000 directly to Diddy's business account, it would have left a paper trail clear as day. Every transaction would show up in the books, ready for lawyers to dig up during discovery.
But if his mother picked up that $100,000 in cash, that changes everything. That money could move quietly, used for private expenses, quiet payoffs, or family support, without appearing on any bank statement or official record. It's basically invisible cash slipping through the cracks of the system. So why take that kind of risk over $100,000? Because it's not about one deal, it's about a possible pattern. In law, this kind of setup is sometimes called death by 1,000 cuts. Each small violation stacks up until it paints a much bigger picture. And here's the real kicker. Most big takedowns in financial crime cases don't come from the flashy offenses. They come from money-related charges, tax evasion, unreported income, shady transfers. And the timing of this leak to Page 6, that's raising eyebrows too. It could be a quiet warning shot from investigators, maybe even the IRS, sending a message to anyone else who either paid Diddy in cash or took cash from him. It sounds like a bigger case might be forming in the background. Keep an eye on that. Now, on to the next breaking update. And fair warning, this one's tough to hear. On February 12, 2026, a Los Angeles Superior Court judge ruled that music producer Jonathan Hayes' assault lawsuit against Diddy is officially moving forward to trial. Reports claim the incident happened during a 2020 studio session, and the details are deeply troubling. According to court documents, Hayes claims that Diddy drugged him with ketamine, masked him, and then physically assaulted him, forcing him into acts without consent. But what comes next is even more disturbing. Hayes says Diddy allegedly used a t-shirt that once belonged to the notorious B.I.G. during the assault, and after it ended, Diddy reportedly said, "Rest in peace, Big," before tossing the shirt on him. That detail alone has left everyone completely shocked.
That Diddy makes all the women wear white nail polish during the freak-offs. Not to mention, she said that the freak-offs will last so long they will be on IVs after. Now, a video resurfaced with Diddy and his mother. She was wearing white nail polish and was on an IV with Diddy.
The story doesn't stop there. Hayes also claims that Christopher C.J. Wallace, Biggie's son, played a role in luring him into the situation. Those accusations alone have sent shockwaves through the industry. The court has already ordered Wallace to officially respond to the complaint by February 13th, making this case even more explosive. As of now, the charges moving forward include false imprisonment and emotional distress. One count, negligent supervision, got dropped, but the serious claims are still heading to trial. Hayes told the Post that this ruling marks a major week in a dark chapter of his life, and that statement hit hard. Even though Diddy is already serving time on federal charges, these civil cases aren't slowing down one bit. Each one brings new financial pressure, and if this goes to trial, legal experts say it could cost him millions. The drama surrounding this case just keeps getting darker and more intense by the day. This is just one of many civil cases still hanging over Diddy's head. His legal bills are climbing fast, his cash flow is drying up, and each new lawsuit only digs the hole deeper. But there might still be one last lifeline left for him, his big appeal. On February 6, 2026, U.S. Circuit Court Judge Beth Robinson officially granted Diddy's request for a fast-track appeal, setting the stage for what could be a major turning point. The oral arguments are locked in for April 9, 2026. Mark that date. Here's how the whole timeline unfolds. December 23, 2025, Diddy's legal team filed their opening brief. February 20, 2026, next week, the government has to file its opposition. March 13, 2026, Diddy's team gets one final chance to reply. April 9, 2026, Judgment Day. The oral arguments in front of the appellate court. Diddy's attorney, Alexandra Shapiro, is calling his 50-month prison sentence draconian, saying it's far too harsh for what he was actually convicted of. Her main argument? She claims prosecutors stretched the limits of the Mann Act, a law from way back in 1910 that was never meant to be used in this kind of case. Shapiro argues that all of Diddy's relationships were fully consensual, and that he was sentenced unfairly based on allegations he was acquitted of, like racketeering and trafficking. Basically, she's saying the court punished him for crimes he was found not guilty of. That's a major legal issue, if the appellate judges agree. Right now, Diddy remains behind bars at FCI Fort Dix in New Jersey, waiting to see if this appeal could finally give him a shot at redemption or lock in his fate once and for all. Diddy's projected release date is set for May 8, 2028, but here's the catch. If his appeal actually goes through, he could walk free way sooner, or even see his entire conviction thrown out. This appeal isn't just another legal step, it's Diddy's only real shot at turning things around. With the pardon request officially off the table and those civil lawsuits still charging full speed ahead, everything now rides on April 9th. That date could completely rewrite his future.
Diddy also implied that she loves going to the strip clubs with him. He makes her go everywhere with him. They were kissing on the lips. He was saying, oh, she can touch the ground with her palms. She lit, she's fun, she's single. All this crazy stuff about his mom. Mind you, she's never been married before. She never had a public boyfriend. People are really speculating that she participates in the freak-offs as well. There's been allegations that she participates and that she also watches the freak-offs. Y'all, do y'all think she could possibly catch charges or she's gonna end up being on the stand as well? I don't know. This is gonna get wild.
So, what's next? The government now has to answer back. Federal prosecutors have already told the court that they'll be filing their opposition brief by February 20th, 2026. That's literally next week from when this video drops. This document will lay out the government's full argument on why they believe Diddy's conviction should stay exactly as it is, and why that 50-month sentence was fair. According to reports, prosecutors are preparing to argue three main points. First, that the Mann Act was applied correctly. Second, that the punishment fits the legal findings. And third, that Diddy allegedly showed a repeated pattern of coercive behavior, even if he wasn't convicted on some of the higher-level charges. That last point could be key in how the court views the entire appeal. And this is why it matters so much. Up until now, all we've heard is Diddy's version of events through his legal team. Statements, filings, and a wave of media chatter. But starting next week, we'll finally get a look at the government side, their strategy, their evidence, and how hard they plan to push back. This upcoming brief will set the stage for the April 9th oral arguments, and by the sound of it, the government isn't planning to hold back one bit. Things are about to get very intense in that courtroom. When it comes to appeals, the government doesn't play around. They go all in. But now, let's circle back to that former president situation because it just keeps getting more surprising by the day. On January 9th, 2026, reports say the former president told the New York Times that he'd received a personal letter from Diddy asking for a pardon. He admitted he wasn't considering it at all, and even teased reporters by saying, "Oh, would you like to see that letter?" But of course, he never actually showed it. He went on to explain that his relationship with Diddy had cooled off years ago after he entered politics, saying Diddy made some harsh comments about him in the media, and from that point on, their connection was over. So, no pardon. Case closed. But then, fast forward to February 13th, 2026, everything flipped. That same former president granted full pardons to 5 former NFL players with serious federal convictions. Joe Klecko was pardoned for perjury, lying to a grand jury. Nate Newton got caught trafficking 175 pounds of drugs. Jamal Lewis used his phone to coordinate drug deals. Travis Henry financed a drug operation running from Colorado to Montana. And Billy Cannon, who counterfeited millions in U.S. currency years ago, was posthumously pardoned, even though he passed away long before this. Now think about that contrast. The pardon team said their reasoning was based on grit, grace, and the courage to rise again, using football as a symbol of redemption. Meanwhile, Diddy, convicted under the Mann Act, was left completely out of the mix. Just picture it. You're Diddy sitting in Fort Dix prison watching the news flash across the TV. 5 athletes are getting a second chance at freedom while your own pardon request is sitting somewhere untouched and ignored. That has to feel like a brutal reality check. The doors officially shut. No pardon, no special favors. Diddy's only lifeline now is that big appeal hearing on April 9th. But let's switch gears and talk about the money, because believe it or not, Diddy's finances are in serious trouble. It sounds wild, but multiple reports are saying the same thing. He's practically broke. Here's what's been going down. He recently sold his custom matte black Gulfstream G550 jet, a luxury piece worth showing off, for somewhere between $15 and $30 million. That sale went down in February 2026, and it raised a lot of eyebrows. Then there's his mansion in the Holmby Hills area of Los Angeles. He originally put it up for sale back in September 2024, but pulled the listing right before Christmas that year, on December 24th, after agents labeled it unsellable. Why? Because the property had been raided by Homeland Security. And really, who's jumping to buy a mansion that's been all over the news for the wrong reasons? So why is Diddy suddenly liquidating everything? Simple. Legal fees. They're stacking up fast. Between multiple civil lawsuits, an ongoing appeal, and the fallout from losing his biggest deals, the bills just keep coming. His partnership with Diageo for the Ciroc vodka brand, worth a massive $1 billion, was terminated. His iconic fashion line, Sean John, was sold off years ago. Before his arrest, his net worth was estimated near $1 billion. Now, insiders say that number's dropped drastically. Sources close to the case even claim Diddy's been struggling to cover his legal defense and appeal costs, and yes, even basic commissary expenses behind bars. This is what it looks like when an empire collapses right before your eyes. And now all eyes are on February 20th, 2026, next week. That's when the government files its opposition brief, and we'll finally see just how aggressively they plan to fight Diddy's appeal in court. Things are about to heat up fast. March 13th, 2026, mark that date. That's when Diddy's legal team is set to file their official reply to whatever the government lays out in its opposition brief. Then comes April 9th, 2026, the day that could change everything. That's when oral arguments take place, and the court finally decides whether Diddy walks free early or stays locked up until 2028. Here's what everyone's asking right now. Will there really be a tax evasion case against Diddy and his mama? How tough will the government's next filing be? Does Diddy actually stand a chance at winning this appeal? And maybe the biggest question of all, are there even more secret financial moves that still haven't come to light yet? The next few weeks are about to get crazy. The government's opposition brief, dropping next week, is going to reveal exactly how hard they plan to push back. And then, April 9th, that's the date that decides Diddy's future once and for all. Does he get his freedom early, or does he stay behind bars until 2028? The stakes couldn't be higher. Now it's your turn to sound off. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What do you think will happen on April 9th? Do you think Diddy has a real shot at winning this appeal? And what's your take on why the former president pardoned 5 NFL players but left Diddy out? Let's talk about it. This story is far from over, and next week's update is going to be explosive.